Don't have the time to teach your students how to create digital content for your projects? Well, hopefully this video will give you an idea of how to equip your students with the digital skills to communicate their creative ideas without having a designated tech lesson. Hello everyone, David Lee here. I'm an educator and a design thinker, and I'm passionate about making videos about innovative teaching and learning. I'm currently a Tech and Innovation Specialist in Singapore American School. I am a member of the Tech and Innovation team in the elementary school. I work mostly with 4th and 5th grade teachers and students, which is a total of 28 classes with around 600 students. Students don't have a designated tech class, so it is really up to the teacher and myself to provide them with tech learning experiences. With digital citizenship, the integration of design and creative problem solving into current units and curriculum, as well as coding and robotics, I haven't had much time to come into classes to help students create digital content for their projects. We have been making an effort to include student action into our units through projects, having students transfer their learning to new, relevant, and meaningful situations, using what they learned to create and ideally create innovative ideas that tackle complex problems and challenges. For example, our school's 4th grade social studies team developed a unit where our students focused on the concept of responsibility and answered this overarching question: how do our choices as consumers affect the world we live in? After gaining an understanding that their choices as consumers impact their world, students were then asked to make their own choices. They brainstormed choices that they could make to help reduce the impact on the environment. Choices that fell into 3 categories: a personal or family choice, a choice to help educate and influence others to act, or a choice to develop a solution to a problem that can help reduce the impact as consumers. Now, it was time for students to create content through the use of digital media that would help them communicate their choice to an audience, such as digital posters, websites, videos, or digital news articles. The Tech and Innovations team's first idea was for the whole team to come into a class and have each member be in charge of a specific digital media tool. So for example, I would help students who wanted to create a video, and another member of the team would help students who wanted to create a website. So as a team, we would all go into the classroom and help students. However, this was not a sustainable model because there are so many classes and each team member has their own grade levels to work with. So instead, I thought, wouldn't it be better if each of us in the team created resources that would help students learn how to use a specific digital tool on their own? So for example, in a class, there would be one group using the resources we created to create a digital poster, and another group using resources to create a digital article. That would allow me to come in and facilitate creative thinking and answer questions about the content and creative communication, instead of being the tech teacher who provides tech instruction and just constant tech support. So that is what we did. Keith Farrell, he created a tutorial on how to build a website using Google Sites, as well as an example for students to check out and experience themselves. Chris Smith created a tutorial on how to create digital posters with Apple's Keynote, as well as an example. I was in charge of creating a tutorial on video making. It included information on the process of developing a storyboard for a video, and then information on how to use iMovie to create their video. So when it was time for students to create digital media to communicate their responsible choice, we printed out these posters that contained the information they needed to learn how to use these digital tools. Students could scan the QR codes on each of the posters that would then send them to a video tutorial as well as an example content we made. Since they got to watch all the tutorials, students had a better idea of which media they wanted to work with. Here's an example of the poster I created that contains the steps for creating a video: gathering and organizing information, creating a storyboard, finding or creating visual content, and then using software to combine visual content into a video. So here's the QR code for the video tutorial, a code for my example video, and at the bottom, there are additional tutorials for Apple's Clips and WeVideo, just in case students did not want to use iMovie. There are 4 benefits in having these resources available for students. First is that the blueprints that we require students to create before they created anything were more sophisticated and detailed. I think this was due to the fact that they got to see a lot of examples of posters, websites, and videos, as well as see the opportunity to see what tools they could use and what these tools were capable of doing and the features it had. The second benefit was that within one class session, students were exposed to 3 different digital tools for 3 different types of digital media. With the traditional model of me standing there and teaching students how to use the tools, this would have taken 3 separate class sessions, maybe even more. The third benefit was that the experience was personalized because they got to make their own decisions and make their own choices. They got to decide on which media to choose. Their decision was based on their own preferences, strengths, interests, or needs. They were even allowed to learn at their own pace. The fourth benefit, and the one that was most valuable to me, was that I got to help students with the creative side of digital media, as well as the storytelling aspect of content creation. I was not in front of the class spending the whole class session on teaching one digital tool, having the whole class go step by step on how to use the tool. Since the resources, especially the tutorials, contained pretty much everything they needed to know on how to use the tools, I was not really there for tech support like I usually am, but I was actually there for the content, helping students think of creative, engaging, and effective ways to communicate their ideas. For example, like using graphic design and making sure their message was clear to their audience of how our choices as consumers impact our world. I help students with developing storyboards or the layout of their poster or the content that would be in the web page. During my time in facilitating this part of the project, I was only asked tech support questions about a handful of times and didn't even provide much tech instruction. Now, our resources we created are linked in the description below, but if you are planning to create your own resources for your school, because let's say your school might be using different types of devices and digital tools, or a project might require something totally different. Here are some recommendations I have when creating resources for your students. First, I think it would be helpful if the resources you created for each type of digital media communicated the same information or topic. So for example, the tutorials we created were based on this information that my teammate Chris came up with when teaching writing for a grade 3 project. How an octopus defends itself. The poster he made communicated this information. The website Keith made communicated the same information. My video as well. I think this would help students see no matter the medium, the content is the most important. The medium is just the way you communicate that content. Content is king, and the information that they communicate needs to be solid before they even create anything. Number 2, I would say try to include as much information as possible in your tutorials, but done in a concise and simple way. The more detailed you are, and the more you think about the questions your students might ask you, the less tech questions you will get from your students. Make sure your resources include answers to any possible question your students might have, but done in a concise way. Number 3, I recommend talking about how the digital tools they use are designed to be easy to use. There are designers who create the user interface of these tools who are trying to make things easy for the user. So if students understand this, then they are more likely to troubleshoot problems that they find themselves. Additionally, I show and review generic stock app or software icons to show that almost every digital tool has the same icons. So if they know how to use Google Slides on their iPads, they could probably figure out how to use Apple's Keynote. Same for video making. If you can use iMovie, you can probably learn how to use WeVideo fairly quickly. Thank you so much for watching. Special thanks to the 4th grade social studies team for developing this unit, as well as the tech and innovation team who created the resources, and of course the teachers who collaborated with me on this project. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to click the like button, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell icon to get notified on updates and new videos that I post on this channel. Also, please share this video to your educator friends who might be interested in this topic. Thanks again. Until next time, stay perpetually in beta, and I'll see you on the next one. Peace.